Hey guys, Prowl1701 here, and I'm doing a tier list. Aha. And I'm going to be ranking almost every second Doctor story. I still haven't seen Wheel in Space yet. I like the idea of still having at least one Troughton I haven't seen yet, because I love the Troughton era. I love the second Doctor. So I won't be ranking Wheel in Space, but we'll be ranking the rest of them. There is a GOAT tier that, of course, only one story will go there, the one that I think is the best Troughton story of all time. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, and F tier. C being average. Anything above C is above average. Anything below C is below average, in my opinion. And we're going to start off. I'm going to try to do these in order. I think I got them put in order here. And let's see. I am going to start with Power of the Daleks, which is the GOAT story for me. This is my favorite Troughton story. I think it's the best Troughton story. And it's a testament to how good it is that this story is completely animated, and it's still so good, especially since so much of Troughton is down to his facial features and his body language. There's so much he puts into those things. The fact that this story is so good, it can work in just animated form, is a testament to it. It's David Whittaker, probably one of the best writers the show ever had, probably the best writer that understood the Daleks that the show has ever had. It's such a good story. It's a great post-regeneration story. It's a great story with different plots going on. The Daleks at their most manipulative and cunning, perhaps. I love the edge to them. I love the Dalek voices in this. I love watching Ben and Polly adjusting to the new Doctor. I like Troughton's performance, what we can, again, get from it, from the audio. And I enjoy the B plot on the planet with what's going on with infighting going on among the different factions there. It's just a really, really good story. Easily the best second Doctor story, in my opinion. The Highlanders. I'm going to put the Highlanders in B. I think it would be higher if it existed. I like the story of the Highlanders. It's got a lot of whimsy in it, and I loved the novelization of it. But going off the TV episode with it being completely recon, it is a little more of a struggle to get to. Not badly. I mean, it's not, as far as recons go, especially being completely recon, it's not bad. It's a little difficult just because it's all recon, but it's not bad. If it existed, I think it would be in S or A tiers, just because it's as a recon. It's in B tier. Underwater Menace, also B. I liked Underwater Menace. I saw it for the first time when the Steelbook came in. Now, I've only watched the black and white animated episodes with the surviving episodes. I haven't watched the color version yet, because why would I watch two animated episodes when they exist in real life? It doesn't make sense to me. I might watch it eventually at some point. But going off the animated episode 1 and 4 in black and white and the surviving episodes 2 and 3, it's a fun little story, especially if you go into it knowing it's not like one of the greatest stories ever, and to just kind of go in with lowered expectations. You can have a lot of fun with it. And it's nice to see Troughton's earliest performance that exists on video. Watch him coming into the role. Really, I really love when he's talking with Zeroff and he's like, just one question. Why do you want to blow up the world? Or why do you want to blow up the earth? I love the way he says that. I just do. It's a solid B story for me. The Moonbase. This is really tricky for me, because I love the Moonbase a lot. It's one of my favorite Troughtons. I'm going to say A tier, which is odd for me, because usually I think I'd put it in S tier. I'm going to go A tier. It's really solid. I love the animation. Probably the best animation we've gotten so far. The surviving episodes are really good. It's my favorite performance of Troughton in the role for me as the second Doctor, and I like Ben and Polly in it. Not too keen on the Cybermen design. The story is kind of basic, even though it's a better version of 10th Planet for me. Also, the Cybermen voices don't do much for me here. And I feel like the Cybermen are defeated a little too easily. I think it's those slight issues with the story that bump it down to A, but it's really good. It is still one of my favorite Troughtons. Was that the Macroterra? I'm going to bump up to S tier. It's carried really by the animation. This is the other one besides the Moonbase that's my favorite animation. I love the fact that since it's completely missing, they decided to take the liberties they took with it, and it really works. I love the animated version of the Macroterra. It's the one time I don't think if they ever found the existing episodes, it would live up to what the animation did with it. I love the character movement. I love the fluidity of the character movement. I love the facial expressions for the most part. I love the background materials, the way the backgrounds look in it, and I love what they did with the macros. It is the benchmark. For me, Macroterras is the benchmark for the animations. That's where they all need to be at that level, so it deserves its S tier ranking. The story itself is fine. I enjoy it well enough, but it's the animation carrying it. The faceless ones is just kind of average for me. It's not bad by any means, but it's fine. It fills out its 6 parts well enough. The animated episodes marry well with the 2 surviving episodes, and when they do take liberties later in the story, it's not interfering with any surviving footage, so I think that's done really well. It's good enough for me. Evil of the Daleks, definitely S tier. I love Evil of the Daleks. Again, David Whitaker just knocking it out of the park. Remembering again how manipulative and deadly the Daleks can be. Good performances going in. The surviving episode 2 is absolutely phenomenal. And the animation is one of the best animations. Maybe not quite up with Macroterra's level, but it's right behind it. It's really, really good. Tomb of the Cybermen is just B for me. I think Tomb gets a lot of credit for being one of the rare complete Troughton stories, especially being one of the very rare complete Troughton stories that's not in season 6. There's only 2 of those. And for being the only complete Cyberman story in the 60s, I think it gets cut a lot of breaks. But I think we have to remember that when it was originally found and viewed, it didn't live up for the expectations people had set up for it. It had been hailed as this masterpiece, and then when it was found, people found it very disappointing. Kind of the opposite of what happened with Enemy of the World. Now, since a lot of time has passed, it seems to have gone back up in estimations again. But I honestly find the story just good. Not great or amazing, just good. With some good performances in there as well. And some nice set designs and some iconic imagery. It's a solid B for me. What's next here? The Abominable Snowmen. Mm. You know what? I'm going to put it in A. I enjoyed the animation well enough. I think the story's really good. I think the animation works well with it. I like the surviving episode too. Yeah, it comes together really well. The Ice Warriors going to be a little below average for me. I'm not a big fan of the Ice Warriors, honestly enough. It's fine, but it's a little below average for me. It's not one I like to go back to a lot, although the animation for it's fine. Enemy of the World is just average for me. Troughton's putting in great performances as the Dr. Anna as Salamander, plus the Doctor impersonating Salamander and Salamander impersonating the Doctor. It just drags on a little too long for me. I find it a little overrated. The Web of Fear is a solid A. Well, easing into A for me. Great sequel to Abominable Snowmen. Some great location work. It's eerie. It's got atmosphere, and it's got a great guest cast. I really wish they would find that missing episode 3. Solid second Doctor story. Uh, Fury from the Deep. I can only put it in E. The story's great. The story for Fury from the Deep is great, but the animation is so bad. I think I prefer watching the recon of it. I just don't get that animation. While the animation for Macroterra bumps it up, the animation for Fury from the Deep pulls it down, which is a shame because it's a really good story. Really good story. But that animation makes it a hard watch. I have not seen Wheel in Space, so we're going to leave that one right here. Haven't seen it. The Dominators. Yeah, it's gonna have to go right here with with the Fury from the Deep. The Dominators just isn't good. It's a shame because again, it's one of those rare complete Troughton stories. There's only 7 complete Troughton stories, and Troughton's putting in a good performance. So is Fraser and Wendy. It's just not that good though, honestly. The Mind Robber is a solid B for me. It's knocking on the door to A. Some days I think I'd put it in A, but it's a solid effort. It's a good 5-parter. I really enjoy it a pretty good bit, and it does some clever things. It feels like a nice fantasy Doctor Who story, which I like. We have The Invasion, S tier. The Invasion is 8 parts. It fills out its 8 parts well, and the animation for episodes 1 and 4 is really good. It's got 2 phenomenally good human villains and some iconic imagery with the Cybermen. Absolutely love The Invasion. The Crotons is a solid B for me. I put it above average. I know a lot of people aren't as keen on it, but I think the story is really good. It's a 4-parter that knows it only needs to be a 4-parter. And the Croton design is half really good and half completely naffed. I think from like here up, like the waist up is really good, and then from the waist down is just terrible. But it's a solid B for me. The Seeds of Death. I'm gonna say C. Honestly, it needs to go somewhere between C and D. It's better than the Ice Warriors though, so I'm gonna bump it up to C. Again, a shame that because it's a complete Troughton story, but it doesn't do a lot for me. It's fine, but neither one of these are as good as the 2 modern Doctor Who Ice Warrior stories. Both of those are better. Space Pirates, gonna have to give it E just because the recon is hard to get through. I actually like the story. I've read the novelization. The novelization would be a solid B at least. B or A. I like the novelization. And the surviving episode 2 is fine. It's just the fact the recon, especially since John Cura was in bad health and passed away around this time. He didn't take any telesnaps for it. The recon gets progressively harder to get through, and by the end of it, you just want it over with, to be honest. So it just kind of has to rank there because of that. And the War Games, boom, S tier. I love the War Games. 10 episodes that never gets boring to me. I know there's a lot of getting captured, escaping, never gets boring for me. I love it. Cliffhanger to episode 9, one of the best in Doctor Who. And episode 10, Essential Doctor Who. Everyone should see the War Games. You just need to. So oddly enough, B having the most. I'm kind of surprised by that with Highlanders, Underwater Menace, Tomb of the Cybermen, Mind Robber, and Crotons being in B. Goat being Power. We got Makara, Evil, The Invasion, and War Games being S tier with the Moonbase. And again, any other day, the Moonbase could be up in S tier. It's really good. Abominable Snowmen, Web of Fear being A tier. Got a few average stories and just a few kind of below average stories. And again, a lot of what's hurting these down here are that they're missing, except the Dominators. The Dominators just isn't that great. Even though it has a couple of bright points in it, it's not that great. So that's kind of, I bumped that. That's kind of just where I rank everything. I want to know, what do you think? So comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. A link to that is down there as well. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. It is much appreciated. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I said that already, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did. Most importantly, thank you for watching.